How's it going, everybody? Tonight is a big one. The news is breaking. We have historic polling and early voting in a way that we've never seen before. It's over. I'm telling you, Trump is projected to win in a landslide. At this point, according to all the polls, 326 electoral votes. We're going to go ahead and start off with some fireworks, guys, because this is huge. It's not just the electoral vote, though, electoral college vote, but the popular vote as well. It's so bad for Harris that top Democratic donors are pulling their money, they're pulling the donations and asking for there to be less money spent because Trump has such a historic lead. On top of that, Trump is making one of the biggest campaign changes ever, or just campaign events ever. He is suing CBS for $10 billion. Yes, $10 billion for the doctored video of the 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris. He said that what they did was they committed unlawful acts. They committed election interference and voter interference because they acted maliciously towards him, and they tried to sway the election in her favor through making her look good and making her sound good, even though the interview was doctored up. And it's gotten even worse for our I'm not gonna say friend, but for the guy Mark Cuban, the billionaire, one of Harris's top surrogates, over his comment that Trump doesn't surround himself with strong, intelligent women. This is literally what they call a campaign destroyer. A top surrogate for Kamala Harris, that this person, literally her most, one of her richest donors, and he goes and makes this horrible comment about women, and it's blowing up social media, everything. We got a lot of other breaking news, just great news tonight. I love it. If you're watching, please hit that subscribe button, and if you're not subscribed, and if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. And just want to say thank you to all of our members already in the chat, killing it. Let's get crazy tonight, guys. We got good news. It's Halloween. If y'all dressed up or anything like that, let me know what you were. But I'm telling you what, we've got great news. And also, too, thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. Thank you so much. We're so grateful to be serving you every single day. But let's jump into this news. You are going to love it. Check it out.
Biting in newsrooms across the East Coast because a Trump victory would be the final nail in the media's coffin. An anonymous TV executive admitting if half the country has decided that Trump is qualified to be president, that means they're not reading any of this media. And we've lost this audience completely. A Trump victory means mainstream media is dead in its current form. They're fessing up that their mission is to influence you, not inform you. No one believes them. They lost their juice, and they think they're dying. What they don't realize is they've been dead for years. 3 networks and 3 papers choosing the politicians, those days are long gone. Today, we have cable, talk radio, podcasts, social media. We debunk the hoaxes before the networks can air.
Hey, they got YouTubers? Let's go.
But CBS is still trying to spin Biden's garbage smear. Listen.
He landed in Green Bay just a short time ago and then pulled this campaign stunt, speaking to reporters from a garbage truck, proof that he and his supporters are giving no grace to a gaffe by President Biden, where he, in his explanation, inadvertently called Trump supporters garbage. This, of course, was in response to that racist joke about floating garbage told at a Trump rally just last weekend. Vice President Harris is distancing herself from the negativity and trying to drive home her unifying message that if elected, she will represent all Americans.
Norah O'Donnell heard Biden call half the country garbage and told her audience, Biden gaffed, Trump's a racist, and Kamala's a uniter. I can't believe she even moderated the VP debate. This is the same network that chopped up Kamala's 60 Minutes interview to give her better answers. And tonight, Trump announced he's suing CBS over that edit for $10 billion.
$10 billion.
But we all know what happened with Biden's garbage smear. Everybody in the country's talking about it. MSNBC says the media shouldn't even cover it.
This campaign is being covered by some of the best reporters I've ever seen and by some of the worst reporters I've ever seen. And the worst of them actually tried to create a controversy today. And those reporters know that that is false. but it is the kind of false narrative that panicked, stupid campaign coverage exists to amplify.
This is why no one trusts the press. We watch a video of the president calling us garbage. Then they tell us it didn't happen and to stop talking about it.
Gaslighting.
Jeff Bezos, who owns the Washington Post, is telling his paper, everyone knows we're full of it. Something we're clearly doing is not working. Most people believe the media is biased.
Yes.
Anyone who doesn't see this is paying scant attention to reality. And those who fight reality lose. The media is in a really bad spot right now, but Jake Tapper found the bright side. If Trump wins, they'll make more money.
Should he win, as a writer, you're going to have a lot more material. It's entirely possible that late night ratings, not just for your show, but every comedy show, and also I should acknowledge cable news, will go way up because there will be a lot more going on. Do you ever think about the election personally versus professionally? Like, are you preparing for a Trump victory in any way, thinking, well, at the very least, it will be good for our family financially?
These guys need
Wow.
help. A study from the Media Research Center shows late night shows mock Trump 98% of the time. Kamala, off limits. Even though she's a walking laughing gas with a VP who's friends with school shooters. Joe Biden, on the other hand, fair game.
President Biden appeared to refer to Trump supporters as garbage. Now, obviously, what he meant to say was nothing. Why are you saying anything? Did you forget that you're so bad at saying things we had to go get somebody else?
It's not a smart thing to say. Joe Biden should drop out of this race immediately.
Today, Kamala Harris was like, could someone drop Joe in a corn maze and leave him there till Wednesday? Just have him wander?
Yeah. The only joke about Democrats once their careers are over. Can't wait to see what they say about Kamala after Tuesday.
Ooh.
Glenn Greenwald is a Substack columnist. So very interesting that this is obviously an anonymous TV executive, Glenn. A Trump victory means mainstream media is dead in its current form.
Wow.
Is he right?
I think he's right to the extent that it's actually been true for 8 years. Ever since Trump descended the elevator, the primary narrative of the corporate media has been that Trump is a fascist, Trump is a racist, Trump is a fascist Hitler-type figure. And not only did he win in 2016, and let's say he tied in 2020, there's obviously half the country about to vote for him again. And not only half the country, but a huge number of non-white voters, as the media is saying that Trump is a white supremacist, a Hitlerian Nazi figure, have been migrating from the Democratic Party over to Trump. And so you can see in everything that the American people are doing that nothing the media says day after day after day about him has any real effect. The only bizarre part is that it's taking them only until now to realize that their relevance has been rapidly diminishing.
And I'll tell you this, it's across the board. The ratings for all the shows coming up with Joe Rogan, the podcast, YouTubers are just on the rise because people say, you know what? We want to see what's actually going on. We want to see all the news that isn't controlled by advertisers. So check this out. The 2024 election, Trump is 63.7 to Kamala Harris is 36.4. So still winning big. This is huge. All the swing states, especially Arizona and Pennsylvania, Trump is still winning big. But it's not just that, guys, because when we look at the Electoral College right here, on Point Politics, they pulled everything together. Check this out. They have Trump winning 326 in a landslide against Kamala Harris's 212. All the swing states, including North Carolina, including Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, the blue wall, whatever they call it, they have Trump winning this. This is pulling all the things together to show that what is actually going on is Trump is making headwinds big time. And a lot of people are thinking, oh my goodness, like this could be a landslide. Well, that's what it's showing. Not only that, but they're also showing that, remember we told you about all the things that are happening across the board with the elections, the non-citizens would just release this. So they were trying to hide, right here, check this out, 218,000 registered voters in Arizona that did not provide proof of citizenship. And it's the law there. Well, now they won in court. They won the lawsuit. The Secretary of State has to give the list. When they get the list, they can finally go through and see who's non-citizen, who's not, and then be able to work against those ballots, which most of the non-citizens overwhelmingly vote Democrat. This is why it's such big news that across the board, Trump is winning big time. There's lawsuits upon lawsuits. They just had another lawsuit in New York. Think about it, New York, where they're finding the irregularities between the voting machines, the ballots, all the issues. It is insane how much the RNC is fighting against all of the election fraud, the voter fraud that we have seen across the board, everybody. Check out this great news.
Arizona Republicans expand their lead to 138,000 ballots over Democrats. 755,000 Republicans to 616,000 Democrats, 455,000 other unaffiliated. Folks, that is an enormous early voting lead. And you know what I'm going to say right now, right? Later we go. North Carolina, at Michael Pruser, another good account, Pruser. North Carolina added 266,000 votes in the morning's report, bringing the total to an astonishing 3.37 million.
This is
62% of the expected electorate has already voted in North Carolina. For liberals, that means more than a majority. The overwhelming number of people in North Carolina, ladies and gentlemen, have already voted. Republicans, 1.148 million. Democrats, 1.106 million. Folks, they're supposed to be beating us in early turnout. It's not happening. More.
Nope.
More kids. More. Make this electorally painful that on election day they don't know what to do. They will start to panic. Here's the best one of all. Back to Eric Daughtry. Nevada. He notes in all caps, this is apocalyptic for Democrats in Nevada. I love apocalyptic for Democrats.
Boom.
Don't know about you, but what has two thumbs and loves that? This guy, the GOP holds an 8-point edge amongst the LPVs, lowest propensity voters, and an 11-point edge amongst low to medium propensity voters. Why does that matter, folks? Why would we care about people who generally don't vote showing up to vote early in the state of Nevada? Because you already know the Democrats are praying the cannibalism theory is gonna materialize. What's the cannibalism theory? That, oh, don't sweat Republicans voting early. These are the same people who would have voted on election day anyway. That's not right. That's not right. Let me read again. The GOP holds an 8-point edge in Nevada amongst the lowest propensity voters, i.e. people who probably were never going to vote, who've now said, I'm tired of this Biden-Harris, and are now voting.
Let's go.
Kind of kicks you in the jimmy if you're one of these cannibal theory people, huh? Don't look good, man. More, everywhere. Georgia, everywhere. Wherever early voting is still up, more. Show up with 10 people. I got people messaging me all day. Dan, I brought 20. Good, you get extra credit. Dan, I brought 100. Man, you get a lot of extra. Are afoot, folks. No one's been covering the shenanigans like this guy, okay? Shenanigans are everywhere. I showed you yesterday.
Sorry to interrupt, but they just posted another county, and I'm gonna show you this in a moment, in Pennsylvania, they got caught trying to rig people not being able to vote. This is insane. It has already happened in 3 counties, everybody, and it just happened in another one. This is 100%. Thank God for the RNC hiring over 100,000 people to literally watch all the most important swing states, the pollings, and all this to make sure that we actually get fair voting for Republicans.
In Nevada County, California, a printer issue. I showed you Ohio, where they're getting in the Secretary of State's way, who wants to cross-reference the citizenship status. They're suing Virginia over non-citizens on the rolls. Thankfully, they lost. Here is the absolutely hapless moron out of Colorado, the Democrat Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold. If you're like, isn't that the moron who tried to sue to get Trump off the ballot? It's the same idiot. That's correct. Here she is yesterday trying to explain away to a local news reporter in a viral interview why her office in Colorado, which, by the way, Trump's not likely to win, but has a shot and a decent one. And we certainly have some critical elections there, right? In Colorado, here's Jenna Griswold, Democrat loser, trying to explain away why her office leaked a bunch of election passwords and then tried to cover it up. This is glorious. Check this out.
Secretary Griswold told me today that she had not decided whether to tell you, the public, about that password leak before she got called out on it publicly today. I asked Secretary Griswold whether she takes responsibility for this election security breach in the same way that she has held others accountable. And we discussed a string of errors by her office that can damage voter confidence.
To be very clear, we do not see this as a full security threat to the state. This is not a security threat.
You do frequent media interviews warning of the insider threats to elections. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security defines an insider threat as somebody who uses authorized access wittingly or unwittingly to do harm. Did the actions of your office pose an insider threat to elections?
No.
In 2021, when Mesa County's voting system passwords leaked, your office said, quote, the public disclosure of the BIOS passwords for one or more components of Mesa County's voting system alone constitutes a serious breach of voting system security protocols.
Folks, the shenanigans, this interview goes on and it gets even more embarrassing with this imbecile out of Colorado, okay? You've got a bunch of people in left-leaning states, Colorado, which used to be a red state, but is now almost fully blue. We're hoping to pull it back into the swing column with Trump. But you've got a bunch of morons like this running the election system.
Yes.
The opportunity for shenanigans on election day is everywhere. Arizona Republican.
And I'm telling you this, just what I'm about to show you, they literally caught more. Look at this. This is insane, guys. Look, happening again, Levittown, Pennsylvania. Voters are being told just to fill out their registration and ballots, hand it to election workers, and they will put them into the machine later. Pennsylvania doing everything possible to interfere in this election. Hand it to me. Yeah, I'll do that. Look at this.
Yeah, take a picture. You can take a picture. My name is Michael Bannon. Let's not do that. So my name is Michael Bannon. You can fill this out. We'll do the best we can. I have no problem. I've tried my best. You can fill this out.
On the top of your ballot, put if you want it mailed to your house or if you want to pick it up Thursday.
Look at this. Guys, this is 100%. They're interfering with the election. They're interfering with people voting the actual normal way. This cannot stand. Like, I'm telling you, what we're seeing, we've never seen before. The amount of just cross the board. They said election interference didn't exist. They said voter fraud didn't exist. We have found hundreds of thousands of voting duplicate ballots, people trying to vote in other people's names. It is here. We have the evidence. But look at it. I told you. Nate Silver projecting 55% for Trump to win, over 44% to Harris. This is the most important time. We're days away from the presidency, from the presidential election, and this is what we want to see. Trump's odds are huge to win across the board, everybody. This is the good stuff, what we've been waiting for. It doesn't matter it was great to see good things 3 months ago. It is phenomenal to see things right now, just days before the election. This is what we want to see. Thank you so much, Robert Cash, for joining the True Life fam. Y'all show him some love in the chat, everybody. Check this out.
It's a very spooky Halloween, especially if you're Kamala, the ghost of Joe Biden haunting the Harris campaign.
Garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Democrats thought hiding Biden would keep him out of trouble, but for some reason, Binder handed Joe a laptop, and he somehow did more damage with it than Hunter.
I've watched Trump already seize this. The basket of deplorables was significant, was meaningful in 2016. In 2024, I can promise you that this is going to drive Trump turnout.
The media knows comments like this swing elections.
Yes.
USA Today says Biden's comment reminds us he has no business being president. Democrats were already wetting the bed before Garbagegate. Now they're pointing fingers at each other, and the election isn't even over. One anonymous Democrat member of Congress who's up for re-election says someone needs to park Biden out of sight until after the election.
Wow.
Other Democrats are grumbling that Joe should never have run for re-election in the first place. And the party shouldn't have crowned Kamala. They should have had a regular primary where someone more moderate could have been nominated. Democrats have stopped caring about tiptoeing around the big guy. One Democrat tells the New York Times, we're way past the need to be concerned about the president's feelings. If the Harris campaign feels the need to distance themselves, they should feel free to do so. But Biden isn't going down without a fight, and neither's Hunter. The first son, who's facing years in prison for tax and gun charges, is bitter that Kamala stole his daddy's job. Hunter says if Kamala doesn't win, it could be the end of America as we know it. Now, Hunter needs a partner. So if I were him, I wouldn't be getting on anyone's bad side.
Ain't that
Just
the truth?
sell your paintings and lay low. Biden's people think Joe should be running. Or if he's not running, at least be campaigning with Kamala. He should be out there. The reason she's where she is because of him.
Man.
Biden says, don't point the finger at me, point him at Kamala. And some Democrats already are. Obama's people are leaking that she looks really silly for not picking Shapiro. Would I want to have a beer with Walz? Absolutely. But let's face it, he wasn't a great choice. One Democrat says all the sniping, just Democrats trying to cover their asses and get a little ahead of election day. But really, they're just disappointed in Harris. They're admitting she has a messaging problem. And she keeps talking about Trump and not the economy, stupid. Oh, and Bill Clinton, not helping.
You did pretty well when I was president, and I think I'm entitled to my opinion about who'd be better. I don't think it's right to say that people have to vote for Donald Trump because the economy was better there. I don't believe that.
Bill just said Trump's economy was better than Kamala's. And this is a week after he said Laken Riley would be alive if the border czar would have done her job. The Clintons are like, if Hillary can't be the first female president, no one can. The vibes are off. Yesterday, Kamala got heckled at 3 rallies in a row.
Yeah, it was bad, y'all.
Donald Trump's answer to financial pressures is for you to face the same deal. And I pledge to you, I will listen to experts. I will listen to those impacted by the decisions I make. And to people who disagree. An opportunity hey, you know what? Listen, we all want the war in Gaza to end and get the hostages out.
So the Democrat base is just as fractured as the party brass. How are they going to unify the country if they can't even unify themselves? Even Morning Joe is breaking down.
The hypocrisy, Mika, over a misstatement by Joe Biden, which he quickly corrected, is so laughable because this guy does this every day. And then you turn on Fox News and go, oh, how could anybody do this? I've never seen this before.
Have y'all, this is how crazy they are. Have you ever heard of a president or even a vice president call people garbage and they're trying to downplay what he said? Are you kidding me?
Seeing Trump put on a safety vest and hop in a garbage truck fried their noggins. Kamala grew up in a middle-class family, and Trump's the one in trucks and drive-thrus. It's got to be driving him nuts. She's campaigning with rich celebrities, and Trump's at the barbershop with cops and firefighters.
Let's go.
What the hell happened to the Democrat Party? The Bidens have offshore bank accounts, and Trump's winning the union vote. The party of Hollywood can't even produce a moment, not a single moment. But Trump, the reality star, is directing his own blockbuster from the sidewalk. From the mugshot to the gunshot, from the McDonald's apron to the garbage vest. These are 4 of the most iconic pictures in presidential campaign history. And they all came from this campaign. Trump's dancing down the home stretch because the people are turning out.
Republicans have been registering voters in big, huge numbers. They have been gaining in party registration versus the Democrats in the swing states with party registration. We're talking Arizona. How about Nevada? Big Republican registrations there. They like the early vote. How about North Carolina? Big Republican registration games. How about Pennsylvania? We spoke about it before a few months ago. Big Republican Party registration gains versus from where they were 4 years ago. So the bottom line is, if Republicans win, come next week, Donald Trump comes next week, the signs all along will have been obvious. We would look at the right direction being very low, Joe Biden's approval rating being very low, and Republicans really registering numbers. You can't say you weren't warned.
The race is tight, but Democrats are anxious because black turnout's down, mail-in ballots are down, and Republicans are coming out strong for the early vote. You can feel the energy and the momentum in the air.
Yes.
It reminds me so much of 2016, and I think there are a lot of similarities right now between this campaign and that campaign. The divisions in the country were significant back then. People didn't think Trump had a chance back then. I don't know who's going to win. However, the momentum is clearly, in what I see and what I hear, is in his favor.
And just like in 2016, the Democrats are running on hoaxes instead of their record.
New hoax alert. New hoax alert. New hoax alert.
So last night in Wisconsin, Trump said he wanted to protect women from migrant crime, whether they like it or not.
Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, from insane asylums and mental institutions all over the world, from Venezuela to the Congo, including savage criminals who assault, rape, and murder our women and girls. Anyone who would let monsters kidnap and kill our children does not belong anywhere near the Oval Office. And my people told me about 4 weeks ago, I was saying, no, I want to protect the people. I want to protect the women of our country. I want to protect the women. Sir, please don't say that. Why? They said, we think it's very inappropriate for you to say. So why? I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say, pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
Kamala took this and twisted it.
They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say. I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. 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 I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not.
Wow.
Trump says he wants to protect women from migrant killers, whether the women voted for him or not. And Kamala's campaign says Trump's going to control women, whether they like it or not. It was almost as dirty of an edit as 60 Minutes. And it's going to incite Democrats to violence. Watch.
It's comments like he's going to take care of women whether they like it or not that just makes you clench your fists. It makes me clench.
Do y'all hear this crap? Guys, how ridiculous does this woman sound? Trump says that he's going to take care of women from rapists, from murderers, from people that want to do them harm, whether they like it or not. He just cannot say that he's going to take care of us. He just cannot say he's going to protect women. How wrong of him to say that. Can you believe this? This is why CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, they are literally jokes for media. This is why you come to True Life. This is why I show you the truth. This is why we like Fox too. But we got to make sure we're keeping everybody in line.
My fist. I want to smack him across the face. He's not taking care of me or my body.
Would Democrat women rather be assaulted by migrants than protected by Trump? Because I'm having a hard time understanding the logic. If wanting to protect women is an insult, then you can kiss civilization goodbye. We don't have to invent insults around here. We can just listen to the Democrats talk. Mark Cuban just called Republican women stupid.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple. They're intimidating to him. He doesn't like to be challenged by them.
The party that can't even define a woman is saying women for Trump are dumb. They say the smart ones lie to their husbands and secretly vote for Harris. And the real men lie to their friends about voting Trump. They say Doug Emhoff lifts women up, and Tampon Tim's a man's man. And if you don't vote for Harris, you ain't black. The party running on solving problems and bringing the country together is calling the country dumb Nazi garbage who should lie to their friends and family. And this is after they lied to you about COVID, inflation, the border, and the president's mental state. This election is about who do you trust to take out the trash? A woman who has a record of making a mess, or a man with a record of fixing things?
100%. Thank you so much, Joseph Evans, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, you're on fire tonight, homie. Hey, I feel it, guys. Tonight, I just love what I'm seeing in the news. I love what's just all across the board. Also, thank you, Mr. Tracy J. Norby, for the super chat. He said it was bad enough the Democrats pushing Jimmy Carter out to the polls to vote at the weekend at Bernie's happens. Did Jimmy know who he was voting for? Probably not. They probably just picked up his hand and put it on there. Y'all show Mr. Norby and Joseph some love in the chat, everybody. So you watch what Mark Cuban just said about people around, women around Donald Trump. Oh, thank you so much, The British Perspective, for the super chat. Say, cash your garbage on election on day. Let's go. Y'all show The British Perspective some love in the chat, everybody. So Donald Trump tweet says, Mark Cuban, a really dumb guy who thinks he's hot stuff, but he's absolutely nothing, is now out there saying that I don't surround myself with strong women. Actually, he is very wrong. I surround myself with the strongest of women, with the understanding that all women are great, whether strong or not strong. This guy is such a fool. He constantly on television being critical, and only for the reason that I tuned him out completely while president because he called incessantly. I told him very pointedly, look, Mark, I've got a lot of things to do. I just can't be taking so many pointless calls from you. In an event that affected him greatly because he's a very insecure guy and a major loser. I can't do a good Trump president. I wish I could. Always has been and always will be. Nobody likes him. Nobody respects him. He's unattractive both inside and out. He should go back to talk about the person he was forced to support because I didn't want it. Lying Kamala Harris. Also, he's got no clubhead speed. Oh, he's calling out his golf game, everybody. You know it gets serious when you call out the golf game. Dell Davis, thank you so much for that super chat. Let's go. Show Dell some love in the chat, everybody. But I'm telling you, people are so fed up with being insulted by the Democratic Party. I've checked this out. This is me, one of my favorite persons that works for Donald Trump, Alina Habba.
I just got off a plane, so pardon my delay in responding to Mark Cuban's disgusting misogynistic remarks. Summer Zervos, Michael Cohen on 3 levels, just confirmed and denied by the Supreme Court of the United States. I'm licensed in 4 states. I graduated college in 3 years.
Dang.
Savage v. Trump. By the way, I could keep going, but those are the cases I win. And your left-wing media and your rhetoric, and you're putting women down. See, President Trump doesn't do that. He surrounds himself with strong women like me. So, Mark Cuban, you can go to hell. I'm voting for Trump because I want my daughter to never, ever be around people that speak like you do.
Boom. Thank you so much, Pam Campbell, for the super chat. Said this family makes this Kentucky gal so happy to be here. Let's go. Because I'm telling you what, it's not just her. A lot of people, they always say it to one side. Listen to this woman, because I'm telling you, it's across the board. Even people on the Democratic side are just so profoundly offended by what Mark Cuban said. Top surrogate for Kamala Harris. Check it out.
You never see Donald Trump around strong, intelligent women. That's the quote, Mark Cuban. I gotta say, I have known you and respected you and loved you for a really long time and have watched every single one of the comments you've made over the last several months. And I don't agree with them, but I respect them. And what you just said there is disrespectful, and it crosses the line. How about Tulsi Gabbard? Let me ask you about Tulsi, your friend Tulsi, right? At the end of the day, if she's had not left the Democratic Party, I bet that you would think that she's strong and intelligent, but because she crossed the line, she's not. Maybe more importantly, how about personally? We know each other. You and I sat next to each other. Remember at the IU basketball game when Bob Knight came back 4.5 years ago? Me and my daughter for a couple of hours, and you sat and you talked to, forget about me, how about my young daughter, who I think is intelligent, who looked up to you? How about your own daughters? What if someday they decide to think differently than you with their politics? Are they not strong and unintelligent? What is that? You talk about not being divisive, and look at what you're doing. Shocking, because I thought I knew who you were in your heart and your core. I know you're a damn good businessman. Stupid. I don't get it, Mark. Not okay.
I'm telling you guys, if there's anything, like, he literally has angered every single Republican women in the United States with that comment. And what I love is they've got these fake media outlets, these fake surrogates. We're not having it anymore. We told you about it earlier. Trump is suing CBS News for $10 billion with a B, not an M. Alleging a deceptive doctoring of the Harris 60 Minutes interview. Guys, when I see just across the board, the lawsuits that are happening, because people are saying we're not going to sit back anymore. We are going to fight this thing like never before. Check this out. You can't, these are real lawsuits coming from the RNC. Check this out. So this right here is the lawsuit. It's all, the technical jargon. But RNC is filing a lawsuit against the New York City Board of Elections. They said, we have found irregularities, includes more ballots than registered voters. You ever heard of your grandpa who passed away 10 years ago who somehow voted? Oh yeah, that's where you got more ballots than registered voters. Reports of poll workers receiving cash payments to sway voters. Unsealed ballot boxes, missing records of ballot bag and ballot box seals, documented instances of illegal electioneering, mislabeled ballot box, 0 votes for the runner-up candidate, voters notified of the primary only after it concluded, unmonitored voting machine left active and busy early voting location for all 8 days. You can't make this crap up. A statistical analysis indicating that less than 0.1% probability the results occurred by chance. So all this stuff, these lawsuits are really happening. They're suing across the nation so that we can have free and fair elections. Thank God for the RNC that they're doing this now, because we need it. This is amazing, amazing news. Thank you so much, Tracy Hall, for the super chat. Let's go. But check this out, because I'm telling you what, this is going to go on even past election, what Mark Cuban, top surrogate for Harris, just said. Check it out.
J. Trump, if the American dream is important to you, there are 5 days left to cast a ballot. Now, here with reaction, RNC co-chair Laura Trump is with us. You want to react to this?
Which part, Sean? How long do we have for this? I got to be honest with you.
You're a smart, intelligent woman and powerful,
well,
too.
I appreciate that. Don't tell Mark Cuban that, because he'll tell you differently. But the whole thing is really amazing. They have been incredibly direct in what they think of the American people. Go back to Hillary. Yep. Deplorable, irredeemable, smelly Walmart people. Remember that? Remember how they've called us all fascists and Nazis? Obviously, we're garbage, according to Joe Biden. And any woman who would consider Donald Trump, who wants, I don't know, a great economy, safety and security around our country, a closed border, peace instead of wars around the world, apparently we are weak and stupid. Well, I don't think so, Mark Cuban. Take a look around. You obviously heard from Susie Wiles. She had that very nice post. You had Kellyanne.
And I know that the economy was better under Donald Trump than it is under Kamala, but I still want you to vote for Kamala. Then, of course, you got Gretchen Whitmer mocking Catholics and Christians. You got Joe calling Trump supporters garbage. You've got Barack Obama lecturing African-American men, his words, the brothers, and calling them misogynistic and sexist. Stacey Abrams calling African-American men racist and sexist. And then when all else fails, everybody joins in unison and says, fascist, Nazi, racist. That does not seem like a closing argument to inspire scare the American people. And now they have actors and actresses, Hollywood elites, trying to, oh, let's run an ad and tell women to lie to their husbands. That's a great message.
Yeah, and actually that ad I find very confusing. The only place a woman has a choice? Are you kidding me? We live in the United States of America. This is the greatest country on earth to be a woman. It's really outrageous, but this is the problem, Sean, when you actually don't have a closing argument, when you know that the product you're trying to sell to the American people is something they just simply don't want to buy. No one wants to buy 4 years of Kamala Harris. We've just suffered through that for the past 4, and we could not survive another 4, just like we've had. And I think we all know they would be far worse if Kamala truly became president. There's part of me that feels like some of these people do not want to see her in that White House. Maybe Joe Biden is one of those people. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he might cast a ballot for Donald Trump this election. But the truth is, it doesn't matter what they call us. It doesn't matter what they say about us. It doesn't matter how many times they criticize us and try to knock us down. People are proudly out there voting for Donald Trump. And I hope everybody paying attention right now thinks of somebody, think of one person at least that you know who has not voted, who might not go out and vote in this election. Text them right now, call them right now, take them tomorrow if you have early voting still going on in your state, and take them to the polling location to vote. That's how we win this. We don't want this stuff anymore in our country, Sean. We want a successful country. We want the American dream back. We want a strong country again. And we know who brought that to us. It was Donald Trump. And I'll tell you something, strong, smart women out there all across America are proudly casting a vote for Donald Trump. You can see my I voted sticker. I went and voted for Donald Trump today, and it was one of the proudest moments of my life.
Yes, big time. Terry Easter, thank you so much for the super chat. Saying Donald Trump for making America great again 2024. Let's go. Show Terry some love in the chat, everybody. The one thing I'm telling you, what we're seeing across the board and what we're experiencing is very new. America has never seen, I'm telling you, what I'm about to show you next, this is crazy. Because remember too, there's a new lawsuit that is going against YouTube right now. There's people that are filing with the House Judiciary meeting. So it's taking a new step forward. So they're tying it. We showed you this earlier. So J.D. Vance, this is the actual congressional letter. But now J.D. Vance has interviewed with Joe Rogan, the most popular podcaster in the entire world. And now they're finding J.D. Vance's video and how it's being propagated is getting a ton more views than what essentially Donald Trump's did comparatively. And what they found is that there was suppression in the background with Donald Trump and Joe Rogan's video. Now, guys, this is super important because we've shown you, remember Google? They were trying to suppress Donald Trump in showing when he got shot. Remember whenever we showed you that Facebook was trying to hide all the images of him that got shot with the blood and the flag in the background, all that? We are literally seeing in real life that they're trying to bring down the views for Donald Trump in every single way possible. We literally have the evidence. And now the Congress that has this hard evidence is going after them big time. I love it. Check this out.
I'm going to see a smile on your face. What is your reaction to this? Every surrogate out there, Bill Clinton, Mark Cuban, Stacey Abrams, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, and Joe Biden, not exactly helpful.
Oh, and first of all, it's very tough to follow Laura Trump, who's doing an amazing job at the Republican National Committees. But look, what you're watching is sort of like Custer's Last Stand. I mean, these folks are all on the verge of a disaster. Mm-hmm. They're running in circles. They're saying things that are hysterical, untrue, unbelievable. And if you watched Kamala earlier today, she's just plain getting exhausted. She's never campaigned. She's never had to win anything. It's all been given to her. And now suddenly in the last week, she's I suspect, beginning to realize she's going to lose. And you're going to see more and more desperation from now through next Tuesday as it really sinks in that this is over. Donald J. Trump's going to be the next president. Kamala Harris is going to lose, and I assume either go back to San Francisco or maybe join the Obamas on some very fancy island. But the fact is that I think you're going to see a desperation. I also believe personally, and I can't prove this, but I believe that at some point about 3 weeks ago, Jill and Joe Biden looked at each other and said, you know, if Joe's the only person to ever beat Trump, that's kind of an interesting legacy. And for the last couple of weeks, he has undercut her over and over. And think about that scene on the ellipse. 70,000 people, the vice president, right in front of the White House. Do you see the president? Is he invited? Is he given dignity? Is he a guest? No. He's hidden. You don't think Joe Biden resented that? And so he says, oh, let me say something that'll get people to pay attention, like garbage. So he drowns her entire event.
Yep.
And we think that he did this by accident? I don't. I think it was deliberate, and I think it worked.
That is huge, y'all.
To go and lean Julia Roberts and cut an ad about women lying to their husbands, that it's okay, followed up by her speech this week where she flat out lied and said Donald Trump is going to have a national abortion ban when he said many times the exact opposite. He's going to limit access to birth control. The exact opposite is true, that he doesn't support, he'll stop IVF treatment. The exact opposite is true. Or have Hollywood elitist jackass, you know, really? I'm gonna look for what manliness looks like to George Clooney, a Hollywood jackass, spoiled elitist? No, thank you. He's no John Wayne.
Look, let me go out on a limb for a second as a historian. These people are dishonest. They're relentlessly, routinely dishonest at every level. And so for them to tell people to lie is just one further example of the depth of their corruption. I mean, how do you run a country where you're walking around saying wives should lie to their husbands, husbands should lie to their wives? I mean, what kind of a totally amoral, corrupt, sick system have the Democrats developed? If you think about it at that level, it is astonishing, the decay. This is what, frankly, why Robert F. Kennedy Jr. switched parties, but didn't switch parties, but was campaigning.
Oh, sorry, y'all.
Campaigning Sunday with Donald Trump, because the party of John F. Kennedy, the placated ad, that is sick. And I think we ought to have the courage to say this is a sick, dishonest party.
You know, to demonize and denigrate African Americans the way Stacey Abrams and Barack Obama, you know, I thought they wanted African American men to vote for them. Insulting them is not the best strategy, in my view. Telling women, if they're trying to target women voters, lying to your husband, that message is not exactly a winning message. Or lying about abortion and contraception and IVF. You know, it's all to scare them, which tells me they must be scared that their internal numbers show that they're not doing as well as they want with those particular demographics, considering they're the identity politics party.
Look, let me just pose a simple question that I hope some reporter will ask Stacey Abrams, who's never gotten over, by the way, losing and has lost, and it's over. Talk about election deniers. How can she say the young black men who vote for Trump are racist? I just want to understand. How do you say to a young black male, you're a racist? I have no idea what she's saying, except that she's learned a set of code words, and she thinks if she repeats them like pablum, that somehow they'll have meaning. I mean, it's a little bit like watching some Walt Disney film about a wizard or something. You know, how can you be a young black male and be a racist? This is just Stacey Abrams personifying the collapse and the insanity of the modern Democratic Party.
I'm telling y'all, like what we're seeing now, we've seen, you know, the left get a little crazy, say certain things, but we have never seen them or hear them say the things that they're saying now. And we got a little treat. You know, tonight is a little bit later show than normal, but I just think we need a good laugh, guys. Check it out.
So disgusting, but just a joke. So what do you do when somebody calls you garbage? Of course it matters if it's from someone whose opinion you value, like your spouse or your relative or that Chinese lap dancer I met in Croatia. But what if it's coming from this guy? I mean, this guy thinks you're garbage. The guy who didn't even acknowledge he had a grandchild because she came from the wrong side of the tracks. To him, she was garbage, which kind of makes him garbage. And yet Joe called Trump supporters garbage. And the next day, Trump showed up for a campaign event asking the media one question: how do you like my garbage truck?
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden. Joe Biden should be ashamed of himself if he knows what he's even doing. I hope you enjoy this garbage truck.
We enjoy it. So Joe calls Trump supporters garbage. Trump shows up for a campaign event in a garbage truck. I wonder what would happen if Biden had called them d***.
Oh, my goodness.
Would Trump have showed up in this?
Yeah, he would.
You know he would.
He would.
So why does this moment matter? Well, first, the same media that went insane over a comedian's joke about a trash crisis in a U.S. territory now views Biden calling half the country garbage a hoax.
The very same news media that ignored all the times Donald Trump has called American citizens and American voters scum and garbage actually tried to turn Joe Biden's use of the word garbage into a controversial news story today.
He landed in Green Bay just a short time ago and then pulled this campaign stunt, speaking to reporters from a garbage truck. Proof that he and his supporters are giving no grace to a gaffe by President Biden, where he, in his explanation, inadvertently called Trump supporters garbage.
You see that? Inadvertently. Like that was inadvertent. Like when I inadvertently landed on that candlestick. But sure, the garbage line could be misconstrued.
Been there.
But do we owe them that grace, as Nora suggests? Hell no. After all, Biden rode in on the most divisive lie ever, the Fine People hoax, which was thoroughly debunked. Worse, it was the tentpole hoax that initiated the Trump is Hitler narrative that they've been pushing ever since. It was divisive, destructive, and even when they knew it was false, they kept at it. So forgive me if I don't give a if Biden just got Fine People hoaxed. What's good for the goose is good for the slander. So while Joe's biting babies, Trump is chewing up Kamala's campaign like a toddler dressed as a Big Mac. But there's a bigger problem. Whether you're called irredeemable, deplorable, or garbage, the rot is coming from the top and is undermining the fabric of the social contract. It's not team sport politics. I got no problems with tribes, allegiances, clubs, even cults. Hell, I had Scientologists as neighbors, and they were always willing to invite me over for a threesome. Because there was always a bedrock premise underneath it. It's the cheesiest phrase ever, love thy neighbor. It's corny because we get it wrong. When we hear love thy neighbor, we think of Ned Flanders offering a hi diddly ho neighborino to Homer. But love thy neighbor doesn't matter when things are good, only when it's bad.
Yup.
And if Kamala wins, you both may have to fend off roving gangs of transgendered Venezuelans with student loan debt. That societal agreement is no different than the First or the Second Amendment. They don't exist for hello and goodbye. It's for bad words and bad hombres, which means no matter who you root for, you're still neighbors. If you're a Yankees fan and you live next to a Red Sox fan, don't sit near each other at a game. Actually, you may both want to avoid both those cities. But you can still borrow the leaf blower, but then return the favor by leaving your blinds open when you undress.
Oh, my goodness.
But love thy neighbor became immoral once radicals made the political personal. In the 60s, the left's most heralded voices declared that every relationship is one of power, between boss and worker, husband and wife, white and black, even me and my pool boy. I keep telling him someday I'll get a pool.
Oh, my goodness.
Suddenly, the equality of connection turns vertical. It's no longer we're in this together. It's now who's on top. They changed love thy neighbor into love thy neighbor unless we disagree. The relationship is transactional, but not based on neighborly stuff. But now your neighbor won't talk to you if you're voting for Trump. Now, I know, do you really want a jerk like that in your life anyways? But that's where calling half the country Nazi garbage gets you. You end up in a place where it's harder and harder to return to loving one's neighbor when the media and their team calls them trash. My advice, get your lawn tools back before Tuesday.
Man, I'm telling you what a great show, everybody. If you're watching, not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Let me get you the top news every day, show you all the good stuff. Appreciate every single buddy that's watching. Thank you, and if you don't mind, click that thumbs up like button, guys. It really does help. Man, y'all have killed it tonight. Thank you so much, Joseph Evans, Mr. Tracy J. Norby, The British Perspective, Dell Davis, Pam Campbell, Tracy Hall, Terry Easter for the super chat. Show them some love in the chat, everybody. Y'all are amazing. Thank y'all so much for tonight's show. I'm telling you, I feel good about it. I feel like Trump is going to win. We're going to bring in the dream team, and we are going to make some things happen for America, y'all. This is awesome. Look at that flag. That flag. I love it. Guys, remember, we are going to be doing a super long, huge election night video. We're going to be doing some giveaways. Anybody want some MAGA hats? Some MAGA shirts? Guys, we are going to have a great, fun night. Remember, 6 p.m. Central Time. Be here with us. We are going to do giveaways. And I want to just, say I appreciate everybody so much. Love y'all so much. I'm here for y'all. We will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.